Welcome back to Dr. Horror Tales. Today, I've got a bone-chilling true story that will send shivers down your spine. This one takes place in Russia, and it's not for the faint of heart. So, gather round, turn off the lights, and get ready for the true horror stories about Russia. The legend tells of a cursed family, the Petrovs, who were said to have made a deal with the devil himself. In exchange for wealth and power, the Petrovs agreed to sacrifice their firstborn son to the devil. Years passed, and the family grew wealthy and powerful, but at a terrible cost. Every firstborn son was sacrificed, and the family was cursed to eternal suffering. But then, one day, a young Petrov fell in love with a woman from a neighboring village. He vowed to break the curse and end the family's suffering once and for all. He sought the help of a powerful witch, who gave him a potion that would break the curse. He returned to his family's estate and convinced his father to drink the potion, hoping it would free them from the curse. But as his father drank the potion, he began to transform. His eyes turned black, and he grew taller and more imposing. The young Petrov realized too late that the potion had not broken the curse, but instead had summoned the devil himself. The devil claimed the soul of the young Petrov and took him to hell, leaving the rest of the family to suffer the curse for eternity. The legend of the cursed Petrov family still haunts the village to this day, and some say that if you listen closely on quiet nights, you can hear their cries of agony echoing through the woods. After the young Petrov's death, the curse continued to haunt the family. Every firstborn son was sacrificed, and the family's wealth and power dwindled. The once grand estate fell into disrepair, and the villagers avoided it at all costs. But one day, a group of explorers stumbled upon the abandoned estate. They were fascinated by the legend of the cursed Petrov family and decided to explore the grounds. As they made their way through the overgrown gardens and decaying buildings, they heard strange noises and felt a cold presence around them. They soon realized that they were not alone. The ghostly apparitions of the Petrov family began to appear before them, their faces twisted in agony and despair. The explorers tried to flee, but they found themselves trapped within the cursed estate. The curse had not been broken, and the family's suffering continued. The explorers were doomed to suffer alongside them for eternity. As the villagers watched from afar, they heard the sounds of screams and moans echoing through the night. The curse of the Petrov family had claimed more victims, and the darkness that had consumed them had spread to all who dared to enter the estate. The villagers had grown tired of the cursed estate and decided to take matters into their own hands. They hired a group of paranormal investigators to try and break the curse once and for all. The investigators arrived at the estate, armed with holy water and other tools to combat the supernatural. As they began their investigation, they encountered the ghostly apparitions of the Petrov family. The investigators tried to communicate with them, hoping to find a way to break the curse. But the ghosts were too consumed with their own suffering and refused to listen. As the investigators continued their search, they stumbled upon a hidden room in the basement of the estate. Inside, they found a small wooden box covered in strange symbols and markings. One of the investigators recognized the markings as those of a powerful demon, one that was known to have made deals with mortal men in exchange for their souls. Realizing the danger they were in, the investigators quickly left the estate and sought the help of a powerful exorcist. Together, they returned to the estate and began to perform a ritual to banish the demon. As the ritual went on, the demon emerged from the box, enraged by the intrusion. The exorcist battled the demon, using all his power to banish it back to the depths of hell. With the demon gone, the curse was broken. The ghostly apparitions of the Petrov family disappeared, and the estate was finally at peace. The villagers celebrated their victory, but they knew that the horror of the Petrov family would never truly be forgotten. The legend would live on, a cautionary tale for all who dared to make deals with the devil. In the heart of Russia, there lies a forest that has been shrouded in mystery and terror for centuries. The trees are twisted and gnarled, and the air is thick with an eerie mist that never seems to dissipate. Locals have always warned travelers to avoid the forest at all costs, but some have dared to venture inside and never returned. The legend tells of a group of travelers who wandered into the forest, seeking shelter from a terrible storm. They set up camp for the night and tried to get some rest, but they soon realized they were not alone. As the night went on, they heard strange noises and whispers in the darkness. Shadows danced around their campfire, and they felt a cold presence around them. They tried to ignore it, but the terror only grew stronger. One by one, the travelers began to disappear. Some were found dead, their bodies twisted and broken. Others were never found at all. The survivors fled the forest, their minds shattered by the horror they had witnessed. Years went by, and the legend of the haunted forest grew. Some say that the spirits of those who had been lost in the forest still haunt the trees, seeking revenge on those who dare to enter. But one day, a group of adventurers decided to brave the forest, hoping to uncover the truth behind the legend. They set out with cameras and equipment, determined to document their journey and prove that the legend was nothing more than a myth. As they entered the forest, they felt a sense of dread wash over them. The air was thick with an otherworldly presence, and they could hear whispers in the wind. But they pressed on, determined to find the truth. As they made their way deeper into the forest, strange things began to happen. Their cameras malfunctioned, and their equipment went haywire. They heard screams and moans in the distance, and they felt a cold, icy grip on their hearts. But they continued on, determined to uncover the truth. And then, one night, they heard a voice calling out to them. It was a woman's voice, pleading for help. They followed the voice deeper into the forest, and they soon found a clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a woman, her hair black as night and her eyes filled with a haunting light. The adventurers approached her, but as they got closer, they realized that something was not quite right. Her skin was pale and cold, and her breath was icy. And then she disappeared, leaving them alone in the haunted forest with nothing but their fear and the legend that had consumed so many before them. Stay tuned for part 2 of our series, where the adventurers will face even more horrors as they continue to delve deeper into the haunted forest. The adventurers pressed on, determined to uncover the secrets of the haunted forest. As they journeyed deeper into the trees, they began to notice strange symbols etched into the bark and stones. They were symbols of ancient witchcraft, and the adventurers knew they were getting closer to the heart of the forest's darkness. As they continued on, they heard whispers in the wind, and the trees seemed to move of their own accord. They knew they were being watched, and they began to feel as though they were no longer in control of their own destinies. And then they stumbled upon a small cabin hidden deep within the forest. It was old and dilapidated, and the air was thick with the smell of decay. They knew they had found what they were looking for. As they approached the cabin, they saw a figure lurking in the shadows. It was an old woman, with eyes that burned like fire and a voice that sounded like 1,000 whispers in the wind. The adventurers tried to speak to her, but she would not respond. They soon realized that she was not of this world, but rather a witch who had been cursed to live in the forest for all eternity. The witch told them of a curse that had been placed upon the forest centuries ago. The curse had been born of a great injustice, and the only way to break it was to right the wrongs that had been committed. The adventurers listened in horror as the witch recounted tales of murder and betrayal, of lost souls and ancient spirits. They knew that the only way to break the curse was to face the darkness head-on, to confront the horrors that lurked within the forest. And so, they set out once more, determined to find a way to break the witch's curse and bring peace to the haunted forest. But little did they know, the worst was yet to come. Stay tuned for the final part of our series, where the adventurers will face their greatest challenge yet. As the adventurers continued their journey, they encountered more and more horrors. They saw apparitions of those who had been lost in the forest, their faces twisted in agony and despair. They heard the screams of those who had suffered and died, and they felt the weight of the curse bearing down upon them. But they pressed on, driven by a fierce determination to right the wrongs that had been committed. They sought out the source of the curse, hoping to find a way to break it once and for all. And then they found it. In the heart of the forest stood a gnarled old tree, its branches reaching towards the sky like skeletal fingers. It was the source of the curse, and they knew they had to destroy it. As they approached the tree, they felt a cold presence around them. The ground shook beneath their feet, and they heard the whispers of the witch echoing through the forest. But they did not falter. They knew they had to destroy the tree, no matter the cost. And so, they struck out with all their might, hacking away at the bark and the branches. As they worked, they heard a great rumbling in the earth, and the trees around them began to shake. They knew they were in grave danger, but they did not stop. And then, with one final blow, the tree fell to the ground with a great crash. The curse was broken. The air grew still, and the darkness that had shrouded the forest for so long lifted. The adventurers felt a sense of peace wash over them, and they knew that they had succeeded. As they made their way out of the forest, they saw the sun rise over the trees. It was a new day, and the darkness had been vanquished. The legend of the haunted forest lived on, but now it was a legend of triumph and courage. The adventurers had faced their greatest fears and emerged victorious, and the forest was no longer a place of horror and despair. And so, they left the forest behind, forever changed by their experience. They knew that they had witnessed something truly extraordinary, and that they would carry the memory of it with them for the rest of their lives. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more spine-tingling horror stories. And make sure to hit that notification bell to stay up to date with our latest videos. We appreciate your support and look forward to bringing you more bone-chilling tales in the future. Thanks for watching.